Hi, this is Gunnut226 with another knife review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Jeep Emergency Rescue Knife. So basically, why would you buy this knife? Well, the reason that I bought it originally was as a backup to my other knife that I have, that I use in my EDC, which is the Humvee knife that I just made a video on not that long ago. And in that video I explained that the pocket clip was loose, and I was going to take out the pocket clip bolts with the Torx and put some Loctite in. However, since then I've tried to take these out and they're totally stripped. The screws are totally stripped, so there's nothing that I can do. So my plan now for this is just to remove the pocket clip and just leave it in my car. Basically, is what I'm gonna do with it. So it won't have a pocket clip on it anymore, and it'll just be riding in my car as a backup knife in case I need to use it. It's because it's got the glass breaker capability. The blade's still really good. It's just the handle. The handle didn't really take the abuse that I gave it over the 6 or 7 months that I was carrying it. Overall, it's a pretty nice blade, except for I guess the handle material is probably pretty soft, and that's why the screw's stripped out. I could go ahead and re-tap it, but I probably just have that problem again. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in my car and use it for that purpose. In the meantime, I have this Jeep Emergency Rescue Knife that I'm going to try out in my EDC for a while. It comes in a couple different colorations. Got the Jeep, the black, and also I have the camo. Has a little bit of a rubber inlay. It really helps with the grip. We'll talk about that a little later. Okay, the steel type on this is right here on the blade. Let the camera focus on this for a minute. It's a 440 stainless. It's a US design, however, it's also manufactured in China. You can see that right there on the blade. So, 440 steel is pretty good. It's pretty durable. Rust resistance is pretty good. To hold an edge, it's fairly easy to sharpen. So we'll see how this works out. The speed, how fast does it open? Well, it opens pretty quickly. I like the way it opens. It has a positive lockup. You can see it's a liner lock. It goes fairly well into the blade for that liner lock. Give it some additional light. You can see it goes maybe midway, partway through there. Maybe not quite midway for the lockup. Also want to take a look at the bushings. Here we can see, yeah, looks like Teflon bushings. They're not phosphor bronze, but the lockup's still pretty good. I mean, the speed is still pretty good. And lockup on this knife, it's fairly solid. Up and down, there's no wiggle. Side to side, there might be a slight little bit of play that I could probably adjust in the pivot if I had that kind of tool. I'm still not sure what tool that is, but it is really reminiscent of the previous emergency rescue knife, the Humvee. They look pretty much like identical. I'm not sure if it's the same people who designed and or manufactured these, but even the pocket clips look very similar in design. So I don't know, it's kind of strange. There are some other differences on it. The secondary blade for the seatbelt cutting is different. The overall shape is different. Even the handle material looks very similar. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have the same problem with the Jeep knife with the screw stripping out over the next 6 or 7 months that I had with this Humvee. I hope not. So we'll see what happens here in a minute. In the next 6 months, I'll give you an update maybe, and see how things are working out. Like I said before, the handle material is probably some soft aluminum or fiber reinforced glass material. I'm not really sure. So as far as this goes, the grip is kind of slick. There's no real grip or traction on this one. Under the clip, that's probably fine because you want it to slide in into your pocket, and it seems to sit in the pocket pretty well, which is good. Here on this Jeep knife, which is the variation, one of the models that's available, you got the black one, you got the camo one. I think there's also blue and maybe red. But this knife is nice. It's semi-serrated, which I usually prefer. Since I am going with this Jeep, it's just a flat, plain edge knife, which is good. However, since the other EDC blade that I usually carry is the SOG Flash 1, non-serrated plain edge, I won't have really a serrated edge, except on my S2 Juice. I think there's a serrated. No, actually, I don't think there is. So I won't have a serrated edge with me most times. So I might be rolling this into my EDC, but it is slightly heavier. Let's talk about the weight. This is 4.2 ounces for just the plain, and the camo is 5.4 ounces, a full 1.2 ounces more than just the plain, which I'm not really sure why. They look basically the same design. You can see there's some difference in the blade shape. You can see there's an additional hump here, and here it's just flat. So that might be where some of the additional weight's coming from. I'm not really sure. So you can see that there. Not really sure where the additional weight is. Maybe it's in the rubber. I wouldn't think the rubber would weigh 1.2 ounces, but it does feel actually heftier than this one. It also is a little bit bulkier in the pocket. And the other thing that I really don't like about this is there's rubber underneath this clip, and it seemed like it was a little bit difficult to pull it out of my pocket sometimes. So I didn't really care for that too much. So that's why I didn't decide to put this in my EDC currently, and that's why I'm going to probably be carrying this one. It's only 4.2 ounces. The previous one that I was carrying was the Humvee was 5.4 or 5.2 ounces as well, so it was pretty heavy. So that extra ounce that I'm going to be saving might help things out. The other thing is the pocket clip here. It has a really nice deep pocket clip, which I really prefer. Although it isn't black, so I'm going to have to probably swap this out, either for this pocket clip here on the other Jeep with the camo, or I might actually try to repurpose this old Humvee pocket clip into the new Jeep, because they look very similar in design. The Torx placement looks pretty much identical. So I might try to repurpose that clip once I take it out and get rid of the strip screws. Maybe save them for another knife, because it's not the screws that are stripped, it's the actual handle material that's become stripped. It does have the glass breaker capability on the Jeep as well. I actually think I like this one a little bit better than the one I was using previously. And it does have an additional a secondary blade for seatbelt or cord cutting capability. So that probably adds just a little bit extra weight, and I don't really mind that. Maybe I'll actually try to use this a little bit more. Last one I didn't really use too much. I had the semi-serrated edge that I was using a lot to cut the cord and things, pack straps and stuff like that. But we'll see how that works out. How durable is this knife going to be? Well, that's remained to be seen. I will have to give you another update after I carry this for a while and see how things are going. With the 440 stainless steel, I don't anticipate any problems with the blade or with the stainless steel. However, the handle material and the screws might be an issue down the line. Now, as far as value goes, the value on these, not really sure yet. Right now it's high. I bought these at Big 5 on sale for $11.99 a piece. Now they seem to be a pretty high quality knife, like I said before. However, the handle material might be an issue, so the quality might not be that high. Even at $11.99, if it doesn't last maybe a year, it's probably not worth it. I mean, it's probably a throwaway knife, and kind of like the Humvee, the pocket clip. If it breaks off, I'll find another purpose for it. I'll maybe put it in my wife's car permanently, and so she'll have something there. So overall, I think this is a good value right now. I don't see any issues. I don't see any problems. I really like the Jeep knives as it stands. Really like the semi-serrated edge, but they don't offer it in the plain handle, only the camo handle, which I wish they did offer it in this handle, so I would be able to carry semi-serrated edge as well. There are some other knives that I have that are emergency rescue that I might eventually evaluate that are actually back up to these. But I think that's all I have for now. Anyway, thanks for watching.